Yo, what's up, guys? We are a little bit late, but better slightly late than never at all. Thank you guys for sticking around. My name is Pi. I'm with SLR Lounge and Lynn and Jersa Photography, and this is 10 ways to 10x your wedding photography. So I'm going to jump straight in. And by the way, I have Shivani here. She is manning the chat room. So if you guys have questions, blast them out. We'd love to hear from you guys. We'd love to answer those questions as we're going to go through, and let's discuss exactly what we're going to be doing. Because in the next, I'm going to say like 60 minutes or so. You guys know me. I like talking and I like teaching. So in the next 60 minutes or so, you guys are going to learn my exact strategy on how to 10x your wedding photography skill set. What we're going to be doing is covering 10 different tips and techniques, and I'll tell you the goal of that in just a second. But first, there is a free gift, and well, don't we have a giveaway too, Shiv? Like, it's a free gift giveaway for webinar attendees. We have a $30 store credit for everyone, and then we also have a little giveaway that we're going to do at the end. And yes, you do need to stick around to the end of the training to be able to get all of these things, but it's going to be good. It's going to be well worth your time. So this is the important thing that I'm going to request of you all. In the next 60 minutes, I'm not going to hold back anything. I'm going to give you guys all of the information and knowledge I possibly can. I'm going to answer all the questions I possibly can. And what I'd ask from you guys is that you give me your undivided attention. That means please close out your Instagram, close out Facebook, except for obviously the window that you're watching this in. Don't close that out. But turn off your phone. Focus, take notes, ask questions. I want you all to be involved because you're going to get a lot more out of it. I also enjoy it as an educator to at least have my audience involved. And we have hundreds of people tuning in right now. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. This is going to be well worth your time. I'm going to keep this brief. A little bit about me and our studio and team. Well, our history goes kind of like this. And this is my little cheat sheet, my notes for our presentation. Our history: we founded Lynn and Jersa and SLR Lounge back in 2008. Actually, SLR Lounge came a little bit afterwards, but we founded Lynn and Jersa in 2008, and we shot 19 weddings. In fact, in our upcoming business course, we give you our full year financial statements broken down line by line, client by client. Going into 2011, that's when we kind of made our first step and we jumped into a studio. We had 120 weddings, or nearly that. And then we started doing more things. We started commercial side in 2014 under Rise Media. We are now shooting in 2014, 281 weddings. And today we're doing 350 plus weddings. In 2017, we moved into a new 10,000 square foot building. And it's been an amazing ride. We have an incredible team. Today, that team consists of 60 team members that are here in the office Monday through Friday, working on the weekends, etc. We're aiming to shoot somewhere in the neighborhood between 350 to 400 plus-ish weddings. Again, we focus on boutique weddings. So we are a volume studio that does boutique work, which is rather rare. Most volume studios are doing kind of like a very turn and burn type service. We offer a boutique service to a large amount of clients. We have SLR Lounge as our educational platform, and we have over 1 million monthly readers on the site with thousands of premium members who are a part of all the real world education that we create in studio. And we've also started Rise Media. We have a family, maternity, and newborn line that we just started with Line and Roots. And that's kind of where we are today. But this isn't really about us. This is about you guys and how to help you to get to where you want to be in your photography career, specifically in your wedding photography career. So what we've done is we're kind of trying to leverage all the knowledge that we've gained over 10 years and give it to you in quick and concise manners, yet comprehensive real-world training systems that allow you guys to make the jump a lot quicker. Now for us, it was 10 years. 10 years we went from working in my living room in my apartment, 1-bedroom apartment, to owning our own 10,000 square foot building here in Irvine, California. There's a famous quote by I believe Bill Gates said it when he said, most people overestimate what you can do in a year and underestimate what you can do in 10. So it's not going to come all at once. We're going to get you there a lot quicker. It's going to probably take much less than 10 years, but it's going to take some time, some hard work, and some effort starting now. And I'm going to tell you briefly why I do what I do. Actually, Shiv put this slide in. She's like, I want you to write a blurb about why you do what you do. And there's like paragraphs here on the left side that I'm supposed to fill in. And I wrote, simply put, well, what we do has meaning and purpose. I've done commercial photography. I've done fashion. I've photographed cars. I've directed commercials. I've done all of these different things. And at the end of the day, I don't get that great feeling that I do from weddings, from engagement, from portrait clients. When I walk away from a wedding, I've documented their history and I've done it in an artistic way. I've used my vision, my eye to document the beauty in that relationship. And it's something that they're going to cherish and their children will cherish forever. And I know maybe it sounds a little bit cheesy. I don't know. But the thing is for me, it actually has a lot of significance and purpose. Maybe it comes from where I'm at in my life of recognizing what the most important things are. I don't know. But that to me has purpose and it has meaning and it has significance. Whereas when I directed a Nissan commercial, I walked away thinking, okay, I guess I just sold more Altimas. I'm not in love with that product per se, nor do I feel like the motive of just selling additional commercial products draws at my kind of core values and what it is that I love. But this does. The beauty of it is that wedding photography over the last decade has taken a huge prominence in its artistic capabilities and visual roles. Like the wedding photographer is actually respected. Whereas maybe a couple decades ago, these were people that really couldn't make it in photography, that were just turning a buck, making a few dollars shooting weddings. It's very different today. So that said, goals for this webinar, well, I want you guys to walk away from this. Look, you're investing your time in this class being here. I want you to walk away right away being a better wedding photographer. Number one. I want you to, number two, walk away giving your clients a better experience. And that's actually the very first thing we're going to talk about are going to hit both these points. Number three, I want you to walk away with a skill set to help you be a better photographer and build a better portfolio in general. So that means that even if you're not a wedding photographer, or you're just thinking about this area, the tips and techniques and tricks and everything that we're going to show you in this webinar are designed to just make you better at your craft, regardless of what genre of photography that might be. Do we have any questions thus far, Shivane? But you love it when I say your name like that, don't you? Yes, baby. You sure do. No, baby? She hates it when I say baby. Everybody go online and just hashtag sexy baby. Just post that all over. Those are the two words that she hates the most, sexy and baby. If you can combine them together, all the better. Okay, so 10 ways to 10x your wedding photography. Welcome, guys. And number one is going to be the wall art vision exercise, or what we refer to as the wave. The wave is a process that we do in studio because over years of operating the studio, we recognized that the mood board was falling short. A mood board is essentially a client is going to come in and we're going to ask them to put together a Pinterest mood board of the images that they love and resonate with them. It's still a fantastic exercise, and we're going to talk about where it fits in the process later. But here's what we realized. When you look at this wedding mood board that you see here on screen, if I were to ask you, which of these images would a client actually value? Or more specifically, which would they invest in to print, to put into an album, to hang in wall art? It would be very difficult to try and determine what they actually value in simply the images that they're pinning on Pinterest or what they're posting on Facebook. If you think about it for yourself, I mean, how many of us will post images to Facebook and Instagram and all these different places? We'll feature the images or we'll feature these things that we like because they resonate with us. But if I said, would you print it? Your response would most likely be no to most of the things that you're posting. And likewise, the mood board was the exact same thing. Sure, they would pin cakes, they would pin dresses, they would do all these different things, but the end result was that no, they wouldn't be printing these things. So we made the wall art vision exercise. And what this is a visualization exercise to walk them through the process of getting to the things that they value. Here's how it goes. Snapshot this slide, or hey, download the PDF. What's up?
We're having a little bit of trouble screen sharing the slides right now. So they'll get access to that app for the webinar, but at the very moment, they can't see that yet. So
that's a problem.
Yeah. We're figuring it out.
Would you guys like to pause and come back to it?
Sure. I blink with this.
Should we pause this and we'll come back to recording in just a couple minutes?
We can't.
We can't? What?
We can't disconnect the replay. So
can't dis well, if they can't see the slides, that's an issue. So give me just a second. I'm going to see if I can help out. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Be right back. Okay. Okay, don't leave. Don't leave, don't leave. No. We got this figured out. I have good news, and I have some not so good news. The not so good news is that we need to start from the beginning. The good news is that we still get to go through this entire webinar, and I'm just going to get adjusted right here. So here is the dealio. You wouldn't believe how crazy complex webinar software actually is. But Shiv has the PDF slides pulled up now. And so what we're going to do is we're going to jump back. We're only a few slides into this. I would so greatly appreciate you guys sticking around. I'm just going to jump through that intro real quick again. We're going to cut this entire piece out of the final that goes up live and online. So thank you guys for staying. I apologize for the technical difficulties. believe it or not, we did try this out multiple times still, and it still happened. So let's jump in to, Shiv, do I have the go ahead? Slide number 1. All right. So 10 ways to 10x your wedding photography. We're going to dive into why we are here. And in the next 60 minutes or so, because I do tend to carry on, you're going to learn you're going to learn a strategy on how to 10x your wedding photography skill set. And the whole goal of this is that you walk away from this specific webinar a better photographer. Real quick, when we get to the end, we're going to announce a giveaway. We also have a free gift for all webinar attendees. Stick around for that. Yes, you do need to attend the entire training. You can't skip. And now, my important little notice. I want you guys to get as much from this as possible. So I would ask that you please close out unnecessary windows, Facebook, Instagram, not this actual window, but just close out all the other stuff. Turn off your phone. Don't turn it off. That's like, why would you ever turn off your phone? You need your phone. You need it for everything. I'm just kidding. You don't need your phone. If you follow my Instagram feed, you see how it bugs me when Shiv and Trevor and everybody are on their phones. I hate it. Anyway, pay attention. Give me your undivided attention. Take notes. Ask questions. Get involved. It's going to help to not only provide me with questions to make this a better educational product for you guys, but you guys are going to be more involved and you'll learn more from it. Briefly about me and my history. You guys know my name, Pi Jirsa. I am the co-founder of Linen Jirsa Photography as well as SLR Lounge. We have a couple other projects too, but let's talk about where it kind of all started. In 2008, we started our business in the middle of the recession. That's right. We just lost our funding to actually do a startup because nobody wanted to invest anymore at the time. And the money that we had secured, well, it's not that secure when your investor just says they want their money back. So we were left jobless, penniless, and we had to decide what to do. And eventually it fell into the world of wedding photography. Interestingly enough, in 2008, we shot 19 weddings. And in our business course, we actually lay out that entire first year in terms of finances, expenses, how much we made off of every single client, what were the expenses for each one, to show you guys what it looks like to just hustle. Going by 2011, we had moved into our first studio. At that point, we're now doing 119 weddings per year. By 2014, we began our commercial side. Along the way, we started SLR Lounge because we realized that we were creating education for our own team. And we thought, why not put this education online and make it available to other people as well? In 2014, we shot 281 weddings. And then going into 2017, well, we moved into a new studio. We do between 350 to 400 plus weddings. We have more than 50 team members. And today, yes, we have 60 team members. We have a 10,000 square foot building that we purchased. We are now shooting in the neighborhood between 350 and 400. That's kind of the sweet spot for us because as a studio, while we do volume weddings and we have a lot of creatives, we also take a lot of care and pride in the work that we do to deliver a boutique product. We're not a volume studio that delivers a kind of homogenous experience. The experience is very much tailored and crafted to every one of our clients. And to do that over a large number of clients requires that we grow and scale slowly and make sure that each of our team members are properly trained, which we'll talk about in the wedding training series, because that's literally the training system that we use in the studio. We started up the commercial side. By now, SLR Lounge is getting over 1 million monthly readers. We have thousands of photographers that are premium members that are joining us for essentially becoming part of the team without actually being here in California as part of the team. But they get all of the exact same training, resources, and everything. And we just started Line and Roots. So in 10 years, we went from working out of my apartment. And by the way, this is a Super Bowl party on the left side. So when you see that, don't think that I was bringing like 12 employees to like sit in my living room and watch TV with me. That's not how that worked. But from a 1-bedroom apartment to a 10,000 square foot building that we are fortunate enough to be able to purchase and to operate out of today, that's what 10 years can do. And Bill Gates, one of my favorite quotes is, he said, most people underestimate, or I got this wrong twice. I got it wrong twice. Most people overestimate what you can do in a year and underestimate what you can do in 10. So this is one of the things where we've taken our entire training systems and we've put 10 years of experience in education into 70 hours of refined content with the wedding training system and about 40 hours of refined content within the business system that's coming out soon. These are going to fast track your career, but still don't overestimate what you can do in a year. It's going to take a little bit more time just to develop and to not only develop your business, but also your craft itself. I want to briefly mention why I do what I do. Shiv asked me to write a big long blurb about this, and I thought what's even better is just to say meaning and purpose. That's it. I do this because it provides me with meaning and purpose that other areas of photography couldn't. I've tried my hand at fashion. I've tried my hand at commercial work. I've been paid to do commercials and even direct commercials for Nissan and Toyota. And the fact is, when I walk away from those shoots, I don't feel at all personally satisfied with simply selling more cars or selling more of a product. When I come away from every single wedding, engagement shoot, family session, I feel like I've documented something meaningful. I have used my eye, my artistic vision to show them the beauty in their relationships and in their families, and to create something that has value to not only them, but their posterity and all the future generations that will look back and, well, in those moments where you might forget what life is all about, or you might get so busy that you've forgotten why you love the person standing next to you, or you might simply want to know as a child who your parents were. Those are the images that you guys get to capture as wedding photographers, and they have significance and they have meaning. And when that first client comes to you, and I get almost emotional talking about this stuff, because a client actually came to me at the end of a wedding and told me, "You have helped me to love my wife more." And I said, "Oh, thank you. That's very sweet of you." And he said, No, stop talking. I'm trying to tell you something. I'm being serious when I tell you, you have shown me who my wife is in ways that I never saw before. And not only that, but you've documented it. And I almost started crying right then when he was saying it, because he was like, no, listen to what I'm telling you right now and the importance of the work that you're doing. That's why I do what I do. And I don't know how I'd write that in some sort of paragraph. How would you write that in a paragraph, Shiv? That's ridiculous. Anyway, this is the effect that you get to have in this field. And the beautiful thing is that wedding photographers today, they are respected artists. This isn't a decade or two ago when a wedding photographer was simply a failed commercial photographer that went and just wanted to make a buck doing something else. We're respected artists, and we're doing something that's important, that's meaningful. That's why I do what I do. Not because I don't have other opportunities. There are plenty. This is just what I choose to use my time for. That's enough. Enough. The goals for this webinar this is all about you. So that was a little background on me and my experience, but now this is all about you. And I want you guys to walk away with 3 things from this workshop. And that is, 1, that you are a better photographer, a better wedding photographer coming out of this. It's going to happen right away. Number 2 is that I want you to create a better experience for your clients and to walk away with these things. Number 3, regardless of what genre you're operating in, I hope that the techniques and the tips in here, actually, I know that these are things that are going to make you a better photographer in general, because you're going to think differently about the way that you capture images. That said, welcome to 10 ways to 10x your wedding photography skill set. And the first one of these 10 ways, oh yes, we're back. We're back to the wave. The wall art vision exercise. Now, when clients come in the studio in the past, so for the first 5-6 years of operating our business, we realized quickly that we needed some way to visually communicate. So within a year, we created the mood board. And the mood board was simply, our clients would come in, we'd ask them to hop on Pinterest and create a wedding or engagement or a family session mood board where they would select images that resonate with them and pin them to a Pinterest mood board like the one that you see here. The only problem with that was that we began to realize that we would go out and create these images and we'd create these shoots and we'd literally shoot what was on their mood board for them to say, well, you know what? I really didn't like that one. I just like the background, or, I just like the pose and the expression in that shot. Or, what I really liked was, we realized we were falling short in understanding what a client values what their vision was for their wedding photography or their family photography or their newborn session, whatever it might have been. So we reevaluated and we created the wave. The wave, which is what you see here, and it actually looks like a wave. It's like all squiggly like this. But it stands for the Wall Art Vision Exercise. And no, it's not an exercise to upsell. It will prepare your clients for IPS, or I hate that word. We call it shooting stories that sell, right? Shooting stories that sell is creating imagery that naturally clients want to hang on their walls, put in their albums. But I hate the thought of in-person sales or IPS. It sounds terrible. Like as a photographer, who wants to be doing IPS? I don't want to be doing in-person sales. I don't want to have to sell my client or convince them. What I want to do is I want to create images that resonate with them. So we called it S3, Shooting Stories That Sell. And we designed the wave, the visualization exercise to get clients onto the same wavelength, or better yet, to get us onto the same wavelength as these clients. Now, you can take these principles and you can adopt them and change them, modify them, do whatever you'd like to them to suit your business and your style. But here's essentially what it does. And in our complete courses, we describe the psychological process because this very much is using sales psychology to disrupt, to visualize, to get in tune and to parrot the words that they're using throughout the sales process. And when you get good at it, it becomes almost like mind reading. It becomes very simple and very easy to book clients, to understand them, to speak in their language, and to create better images. Here's how it goes. We start with, once we've gotten to know the clients just a little bit and we're sitting there, we'd say, I want you to imagine your home. I want you to think specifically of a wall in your home where you might hang a piece of artwork or a photograph. So that's points number 1 and 2. And you pause and you wait and you let them figure that out. It's okay. Silence is okay. Silence is okay in this webinar. Silence is okay even when nobody's talking because you are allowing somebody time to think and to absorb. Don't get uncomfortable with that. Then we go on to say, now, you have a place? Great. Tell me what it is. Shiv, what is that spot that you got? Her hallway. Great. So I'm going to say, Shiv, how big is that hallway? Just a guess. 10 feet long. Okay. So something that we might put in the hallway, I just want you to hold something in your head. For something that is maybe a 2 or 3 foot like hallway runner, we might charge $1,500 to $2,000 for a piece of artwork like that. And I'm going to say, Shiv, it's not really important that you know the cost so much as I want you to understand that these are investments. Whether you print this on your own or whether you do it through the studio, it is going to cost your time or money. It is valuable. Understand? Yeah. Good. So what I did was I gave her ins and outs to be able to say, look, I'm not trying to sell you anything right now. Yes, sure. I established the price of our wall art and what it is that we sell in the studio. But that's a great piece of information for later. It's kind of like foreshadowing. But what I'm trying to tell her is that I just need her to understand that these are investments. She can print on her own. I gave her the out of like, you can print on her own. No worries. I'm not selling you. And that's the big piece because we need them to understand the cost. And I'm going to say, okay, so understanding that, Shiv, you probably walk through that hallway on a daily basis, do you not? Unless you live in a mansion, that hallway's on like the east wing. Do you live in the east wing or the west wing? West wing, like the show? Okay, she said stop. So this is where 60 minutes becomes 90 minutes and becomes 120 minutes and so forth. Anyway, I would say you're probably going to see it on a daily basis. So knowing that, well, the cost is significant, knowing that you're going to see it every day. And lastly, that I'm going to make you pick one single image from your fill in the blank, wedding, engagement, newborn, family session. You can pick one image to put in that spot. What single image is important enough to you to invest the money, to see every day, and to hang in that spot from your wedding day? Now, it's interesting because clients will respond with usually, I don't know. And then you're going to follow it up with, and by the way, when somebody says no, or I don't know, or all these things, these are not closing statements. These are statements of where to go. I love it when somebody says no. If I say, does this sound good to you? And they say no. Or if I say, this is the price. And I say, would you like to sign now? And they say no. Great. Fantastic. No gives me a place to go. Because now I can determine, well, what is the concern that we have, or where do we need to work, or what value are you not seeing? It gives me something to do. If they say yes tacitly, but they don't really mean it, it gives me nothing. Does that sound good? Yes. Would you like to book? Well, maybe. I need to think about it. Yes gives me no place to go. So if they have questions in the wave process, that's a wonderful thing. If they say, I don't know, then you respond with, don't you think it's important that your photographer knows what images you value most? Yes, it's kind of a loaded question. It kind of guides them to the answer, but then they're going to say, yes, that is important. And then you're going to follow it up with, I'm going to give you a minute. I want you to think about the wedding day. What do you see? What is that shot that you want to see every single day? And not a single client has lost it. Like, not a single client has figured out, I mean, lost it in the sense of like, they got upset, but not a single client has, I'm like using double negatives. Every client will come up with the image. And what will they say? Well, I love the beach. And for our engagement shoot, I love it when he hugs me. And I want just a candid moment and a beautiful shot with the waves behind us. Boom. Visualized in our heads, and now we're going to play into it, because now I know exactly what image we're going to create, and I'll show you it. Here's the image. We're on slide 15, Shiv, just in case, just it's like a gentle poke in the ribs for, the whole slide issue earlier. Okay. When they see it, it is literally the exact shot that they described in their mind. Or we're getting married at Pelican Hill. The pergola or pagoda or whatever that thing. What is that thing called? The rotunda. They'll say the rotunda, it's the only reason we're getting married there. And we love flowers, and we're going to decorate the top of the rotunda, and we want to put a chandelier in there. What we want is a photograph of the most important people standing next to us as we say our vows under that rotunda. Boom. That's the shot. When a bride tells me that my mom is going to get emotional, I really want that photograph of my mother seeing me for the first time. That is the shot. Every client will be able to, at that point, when you give them those limitations, we've set limitations in terms of all these different things. We set the visualization exercise to get their mind into that state where they can think and visualize and understand what we're trying to ask. Because if you ask them a question like, what kind of images do you think you want? Everybody would say, I don't know. But if you walk through the wave, they can all get to that place, and they can literally describe the exact images that they want to get. And then you work backwards to discuss the rest of the wedding day to ensure that you have time to capture what means the most to them. Because if they say family is the most important thing to us, and you notice that there's only 15 minutes on the timeline for family photos, maybe you should chime in there and say, we need to make an adjustment here. My point is, I want you all to use the wave to know your client's vision and values before you ever touch the camera. That's it. Before you ever lift this guy up, you know exactly what shots you're going to be creating, and guess how much more simple your job becomes at that point. When you've properly executed the wave and you've walked through an engagement or a wedding, you know in your head, and you have no need to reference anything, because you know in your mind what your clients value most, and you can already see the images that you're going to be creating for the day. That was point number 1. Hope y'all enjoyed that one. That worth the money you paid to be here? Trick question. You didn't pay any money to be here. This is free. You cheapskates. I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, go buy our shits. Just kidding. But seriously. What? Question? Do you want to take questions now, or do you want to preserve them for later? I think if it's a question pertaining to the wave, then by all means. If there are a couple good questions, we should take them. So this question comes from Elizabeth Lloyd. They can't hear me. This question comes from Elizabeth Lloyd. And get them to tell me what they want. So oftentimes clients trust you and what they want you to capture. How do I get them to tell you? You walk through the importance of the wave. Like this is, by the way, done in our initial meeting. So when we first meet with them, we're talking through the wave to identify these images, because in that business and sales course, we're going to then use all the words and statements that they make, the specific vocabulary words that they say. I'm going to pare it back to show them that I understand exactly what they're looking for. I'm going to recreate those images in their mind, and I'm going to do it in even more detail so they can see the shots. And if they push back, because you will have clients that push back and are like, well, I trust you. And you go, I understand that. I'm good at what I do. I've done this for a very long time. That being said, would you hang a picture of your bouquet on the wall of your home? And they say, no. Would you hang the shoe shot of you in a dress on the wall of your home? And they say, no. And you say, well, it's important that I know what you would hang in your home, yes? And you say, because I know those images are important to you and I'm going to capture them. And we would post them to Instagram and to Facebook, but that is not what's most valuable to you. So you need to reiterate and tell them, I need to know what is most valuable to you. And you know what it comes down to? It usually comes down to the couple and their authentic emotions and interaction with each other. It comes down to the family, and it comes down to their closest friends. Those are pretty much the primary three, but they're always in different orders. And I want to make sure that throughout prep, throughout the day, throughout portraits, throughout evening, we have the timeline set up to capture each of these things. Cool. Thank you for the question. Let's keep going. Number 2 is composition and emotion are always greater than gear. I don't know how to reiterate this in many more ways than this, but one of these images came from a $500 Rebel kit. One of them came from a $5,000 full frame professional kit with a pro lens. Can you tell the difference? Now, those of you out there are like, man, I can see that there's like, I know that, first of all, you don't talk that way. It just sounds that way to me. Let's be honest. But I want you to put yourself in your client's shoes. A client that really doesn't look at images every single day, that really has no idea the difference between f1.2 and f1.4 and f1.8 and f2. If you're having a hard time telling the difference between these shots, and yes, you could blow them up and still have a hard time telling the difference, how much more so do you think your clients have a difficult time telling the difference between a shot like that? My point is, we all tend to use our gear, and specifically to use the subject of bokeh. Bokeh, bokeh, bokeh. I need to have my primes. I need a faster prime. I need a 1.4. I need a 1.2. We use these as compositional crutches. Like, oh, if I could just get a shallow enough depth of field, I can create images like that, and then I'll get booked. I kid you not, and I want to say I shiz you not, but it sounds weird to say shiz you not. You got to say the actual swear word. See, this is where I'm a proponent of just swear words for comedy. You know what I mean, Shiv? Like, I want to swear when it's just for comedic purposes, not out of anger. Anyway, I shiz you not. I have heard that argument. If I had an 85-1-2, I could get more bookings. Holy shite. Did you actually just say that? No. You're using bokeh and all these things as a compositional crutch. There are plenty of other things, and I'm going to show you. Instead, number 1, focus on emotion and authentic imagery over everything, because a bad expression, a bad emotion, no matter what it is, no matter how good the lighting is, how good the background is, how good your composition is, if the subjects don't like the way that they look or they don't feel like their expression is authentic, it doesn't matter. They're not going to like the photograph. So, authenticity. And you see this shot of our Indian couple and a genuine laugh, and we do this through cueing. We place them into a pose, we guide them, we direct them, and then we simply cue them by giving them something to think about, to take their minds off of the fact that they're actually taking a photograph. And by the end of your shoot, they're going to say things to you like, I didn't even feel like a photo shoot. It felt like we were just hanging out. It should. That's exactly how it should feel. You're going to focus on being set up and prepared so that moments like this, when the bride and groom get hoisted up, it's captured and it's documented. And Shiv, I'm actually calling out the image to make sure that you show the freaking slide. You got the slides. Oh yeah, she's got it. She's giving me that look of like that cutting look. In case you guys missed the prior section when we said hashtag sexy baby, it's her favorite 2 words, sexy and baby. Actually, she hates it. She literally hates it. So go online, anywhere, on her Facebook, on her Instagram. That's payback for basically not getting the slides in the right, not being able to show that correctly the first time. Just hashtag sexy baby every time. So this image is not about the bokeh. And you could shoot this image, the image of the Indian bride and groom, you could shoot that image on anything. Yes, I had to say it again, so you go back to that image. But I can shoot this on a 35, on a 24-70, on a 50, on an 85. It doesn't matter, and the bokeh doesn't matter either. What matters is the expressions. Likewise, with the bride and groom being hoisted up, that's on a 24-70. Does it matter that the background's in focus? Does it matter all these? No, it's an amazing moment that's captured. And yes, I tried to frame him underneath that little, the little arches, the rainbows. So I'm using framing techniques and other compositional techniques. But the emotion, the story is what drives the image. And yes, our lighting is set up so that it looks nice too. Getting in tight and getting beautiful reactions and having her jump on his shoulders. And I'm like, just cup the beard, cup it. And they start laughing and they start joking around. These are the things like it wouldn't matter what lens this was shot on. It's going to look incredible. Same thing here. Storytelling with the bride, with a couple who's engaged and having their puppy in the shot and having them interact. Again, does it matter whether we're shooting on you could shoot this on a kit lens, you could shoot it on a 24-70, you could shoot it on a 50. Any of those things are totally fine. You're not even going to tell the difference if it's a 6D versus a 5D3 versus a 5D4 versus a D800 versus a D750 versus a Sony A7 III. It doesn't matter. So we focus on emotion. Number 1, this shot, 100% is an emotionally driven shot. That's it. Number 2, study composition beyond simply the rule of thirds. I want to nix the rule of thirds from the compositional playbook, if that were at all possible. But there are so many other elements that you guys can use. You can use framing. You can use leading lines. You can use light. You can use minimalism. You can use, circles, spheres, shapes, all sorts of things that can lead and create interesting images. One of my favorites is framing. I love framing. This is a single shot that you see here with our bride on the right side prepping. All she's doing is she's picking up her bouquet and kind of looking at it, while her girls are on the left side and they're getting ready in the mirror, and not in the mirror, they're in front of the window. I just found a picture frame where I could basically shoot the reflection of the girls getting ready while the bride was actually taking a look at her bouquet for the first time. This is framing. She's framed in the door frame, they're framed in the window frame. Here's another example of framing. We place a light behind them. Again, light is another compositional element where our eyes are drawn to the brightest source in an image. And on top of that, that little arch and frame is framing the two of them in this photograph. So we're drawn straight into the composition, but it is a symmetrical composition. Here, inside of a cave, well, don't we all wish we had cenotes to shoot from on a daily basis? This is in Cancun. And here we have the bride and groom standing in the spot where the light rays are basically leading in. We want to show the water and the reflection from the water. We also want to show the fact that we're basically in the entrance of a cave. So I'm way deep into this cave, standing in the water with my camera just barely above the water to get this shot. This is using a little bit of camera trickery. In our special effects courses or tutorials, we teach this little technique where you can bring her veil above the lens and either use the sun coming in as a flare or shine a light directly as a flare or use the flash. And all you do is you bring your fingers over where that veil is to cast a shadow in the frame where the couple's faces are. So where that shadow is, you actually see the couple. Everywhere else, you see this flare and lightly coming through. And it's just that flare coming through the veil. These are compositional elements that you can use, and it matters not what lens they're shot on or what camera. Understanding the purpose and effect of focal length. This is a big deal. Most people don't get this. A 35mm lens, yes, it's great for wide angle shots, but a 35 or a 24 is also fantastic to capture those up close and personal moments. As you are close and in the action, it will feel in the action when you're shooting wide on a 24-70, 24, 35. As you step away, you begin to compress at 85, 100, 150, 200. You're compressing your background and bringing everything forward, and you're creating kind of less exaggeration in the features. Those are all compositional tools that we can use. I want you guys to learn and master the power of light. Simple, portable lighting tools. This is why throughout all of our education, we primarily are using simple pocket strobes with MagMod modifiers. Easy, on the go, cheap, inexpensive. This is from last weekend. A single flash placed directly behind the couple pointing up with a sphere on it to illuminate both the tree and the backs of the couple. And I thought it'd be cool, knowing that the tree was quite a bit further away. I thought it'll be lit, but it'll be a little bit darker, and it might be nice as like these lines of leaves that kind of lead and point directly to the bride and groom. And I thought it looked beautiful as that. But once again, it matters not what it's shot on. Not at all. We also teach that, this is a little trick, when you don't have enough power, just place the camera on a tripod or be really steady with your hands. Bring the light in close to the subjects, fire the shot, and then take the light out and fire the shot again and create a plate. Using this, you can basically just layer the two images in Photoshop, and a quick swipe of the brush and your assistant, well, you have to align the layers if you're not on a tripod. But you align the layers and a quick swipe of the brush, less than 30 seconds, and you've created a composite with tons of light using small light sources. Here's that final image. And finally, we can differentiate through mastering, posing, and directing. These moments, I'm going to show you some, like the bride getting ready here in the window and everyone helping to prep. I know it, like you see these types of shots and you're like, oh, that looks so pretty. But my couples and my weddings and my wedding parties, they don't do that. They just stand around. Look, everybody does. They were. All I said was, hey, you girls are going to help her to get ready, right? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, my lovely bride, I want you to stand right in front of the window in this spot. And girls, I want you to get around her. I just want to make sure that I can see everybody. So just kind of stagger around her. Now go. There's a little bit of directing that needs to happen and a little bit of posing. And then you simply start the moment and then you begin to shoot around that moment. And what you end up getting are very authentic, yet very refined images. Another fantastic way of differentiating your work. Same thing in the group portraits. We can do more interesting things with group portraits. We can pose, we can direct, and create something that will actually be shared. And I know most photographers, they hate group portraits, but you're missing out. You're missing out on this huge opportunity to show off all of your skill set, your communication abilities, everything in front of a huge group of people that know people getting married, that are getting married themselves, or so forth. And then having them share those images on social media because everybody wants a picture like this. So they will all, every single person in this image will share the photograph. And we can show that. And we do show you guys that. Pedal toss. This didn't happen on its own. I put it together. There were pedals there. I rounded up people on the dance floor. I was like, let's do a pedal toss. It'd be a lot of fun. Another unique group shot. This again was from the past weekend. What groom has a photograph like this? There's a pinned flash off to the left side just on the groom using a Profoto B2 and a zoom dish just to create that kind of bump and to bring the light up and to create that kind of painterly look in the shot. We leave everybody else a little bit darker, so they're kind of falling into the background. This was posed, lit, and shot in under 4 minutes. This is what we aim to create and to teach in the training, but this is what I want you guys to get into your heads, is to remember this stuff is so much more important in your gear, and you can shoot any of these shots. This shot would look fantastic on an iPhone, let alone with additional lighting and a professional camera of any sort. So remember, these are the keys. Let's get past our gear and let's start thinking towards emotion and authenticity. Let's start thinking about composition beyond the rule of thirds. The effect of focal lengths, mastering portable lighting techniques, and of course, mastering posing and directing. That's one of the biggest ways that you can differentiate yourself as a photographer, because every client will say, I don't know how to act natural. I don't know how to pose. I've never been in front of a camera. I feel super awkward. And when they see you reassuring them, that experience goes through the roof. So if you guys would like to see my gear essentials, we actually just posted the latest gear video. So be sure to check that out on, I think we have it on Facebook Live. It'll also be hitting slrlounge.com as well. You guys can check out the latest gear. If you guys want my quick guide, the starter kit, it's a 2470, a 7200, a full frame body of your choosing, and 2 flashes, one on camera, one off camera, at least be able to be remote controlled. That's it. That's the starter kit. I could shoot entire weddings with just that. The rest of my gear kit is to make my life easier with crazy, ridiculous weddings that we are shooting that are very fast paced and very large scale. That was just 2 of our 10 points. Are you guys enjoying this so far? Can I get it's so weird when I'm like, are you guys enjoying this so far? And then I stop and then all I hear is, oh, well, there's one laugh at Shiv. It'd be nice if they were like chiming in with audio. Just saying. Like if we could just do holograms and show all of them in the audience, that'd be fantastic. If Shiv is saying, move it on, go forward. Okay, cool. The art of posing is number 3. So this kind of tied in that last point of directing and posing. Here's the thing is that a pose is everything. Everything. Pose and expression is everything. And the problem is that most people don't have any experience with this. So I'm going to give you guys a couple quick guides. Again, I want you guys to go into the full-length courses because we break down everything. But here's a shot with the guys. We have Brandon here sitting in a chair. We show what a lot of guys will do. I don't know why. They have their feet pointed in. It's a sign of a lack of confidence, a lack of, oh, maybe I have to pee. I don't know. It's something that we used to do as kids. And you know what I'm talking about when you're like standing and you like kind of bring the legs in. For a guy, it makes you lose presence. So we open up the feet into the stance. We open up the chest. We bring the hands out. We stagger the positions to get the shots on the right side. And this is just an example that we did from our posing workshop. But here's the basic guidance for him. Wide stance, shoulder distance apart. Toes pointing out. Straight spine, think lumbar is your lower spine. It has a smile. Think thoracic and your cervical spine that are the upper parts of your neck are going to be straightened out. Tell them to imagine a string pulling you from the top of your head up like a puppet. Expand the chest just before a photograph. So before a shot, you're going to ask them, take in a breath, and then smile, because then it'd be weird if you're like, that's not a good look. Don't do that. Relax the shoulders. Let the hands be posed or at rest. And when they're posed, that means that they're holding on to somebody, something that makes sense, either that or they're at rest against the side of the body or hanging in a pocket. You generally only need to pose one hand. You want to extend the neck forward a little bit just to kind of increase the stretch and kind of elongate the neck a little bit, giving you a more defined jawline. And then you're going to basically adjust the jaw angle against the light to make sure that line is nice and refined. If there's a secondary light, you have a nice little catch light on it, and so forth. I say and so forth quite a bit, don't I? Next, we're going to stagger hand positioning and arm positioning, feet positioning, so that we avoid duplication, or basically we never hold something like this here, unless you're asking for porridge. And then you might say like, here, sir, please give me some more. But no. Outside of Oliver, that was Oliver Twist, wasn't it? Oliver Twist? Yeah. Outside of Oliver Twist, we just don't hold things double-handed. So more likely, when we hold something, we actually probably hold it more like this, where one hand is doing something slightly different than the other. Or when we're hugging somebody, one hand is up, one hand is a little bit lower. We're staggering, and we want to do the same thing in our stance and our poses and the things that we're doing, so it doesn't look like this. Easiest way to make a shot look posed. Have the hands and the feet doing the exact same thing. So with a guy's walk, it's going to be regular, and you kind of have to see me demonstrate this to understand it, but it's just a regular walk. You're missing out. I do some good runway walking. She knows. She's been there. With the ladies, so what we're trying to do here is create girls. They have the curves. Even girls that have no curves, they'll tell you, I have no curves. You have curves. You have them. It's just a matter of the way that you stand. Look, I have curves. If I stand in the right way, I can create hips and I can do all that kind of stuff. It's just a matter of how we stand and how we accentuate the body. And once again, this is one of those areas where you can take somebody's self-confidence, a guy or a girl, and by simply doing a couple different pose techniques, you can capture an image in the way that you see them that makes them look at themselves in a completely different light. So here's the guidance for her. We're going to narrow the stance. So where a guy would stand feet apart, you're going to bring their feet in. They're going to drop a toe or drag a toe, and they're going to bring the knee across the center, and that's what creates the tapering look in a dress. They're going to have a hip kicked. Usually one side is more comfortable than the other. They're going to do the same thing with their lumbar and their thoracic and cervical spine, where they have a curve in the lumbar and then they keep everything else straight. They're going to relax the hands and roll the shoulders back a little bit. Their hands and arms need to be either posed or at rest. And again, we're doing the same thing, avoiding duplication. We don't want things at right angles. The easiest way to draw the viewer's attention to something is to hold it up. If I'm holding something at a 90-degree angle or higher, or, hey, check out this lens. If I want it to be a piece, like a tool that I use, or something that's accentuated or just shown in the image, I need to relax it and let it hang. So that's how we're going to use like the bokeh to either feature the bokeh or make it just a piece, an accent piece to a shot. Neck gets extended slightly again. We have the chin down. The eyes are generally going to go up. And the reason for this is it creates that kind of dreamy look in the eyes. So when you look up and you kind of have the nose up and you're looking kind of down, this is actually where that whole saying comes from. You're seem snooty, you're snotty, you got your chin up, you got your nose up, whatever it is, you're looking down on somebody. You can create that look. And in some of the shots you saw earlier, like in the editorial posing, excuse me, I do that quite often when I want to create that editorial look, because I'll bring the chins up and I'll have them look down on the lens. When we want to create a more open and approachable and kind of dreamy look, the come hither look, all those kind of things, that's where the chin goes down and the eyes come up. And what this does is it opens up the eyes. It brings in bigger catch lights. It allows us to see more of the pupil, more of the iris, more of the entire shape of the eye. So with their walk, this is what's interesting about it. Their walk for the ladies, they're going to go basically like a heel over and a toe out. And what's going to happen is it kind of kicks the hip, and it makes it so that in every single shot when somebody is walking, the girl always has like a hip kick and she always has her curve. So what you end up seeing is none of our clients are actually models, but we can make them look that way by simply a couple posing tips. And we get this question a lot. Does the same tips work on anybody, any body shape, any size? Yes, 100%, absolutely. Your body is your body. These tips will help to make every single client look better. It's the exact same process, and that process starts by you first seeing the beauty in your clients and not seeing them by their body shape. But you can see on the shot on the right here where we have her just standing flat-footed, bouquets, like she's literally just walking out to that spot. We basically lost kind of a lot of a shape, especially like when she looks over the shoulder and we see the hip kicked out. We see like a lot of really beautiful shape in the dress. We've also like kind of opened up the dress a little bit. I want you to take a look at also, and we brought the hand behind the back to kind of roll the shoulders back and create like a nice curve and really feature the back of the dress in these shots. Look at this one. On the next shot, she has a slit in her dress. And she's like, I really want you to shoot the slit in my dress. Okay, well, I'm not going to like, oh, all right, well, let's just bring that leg right on out here and let's just take it real close, creepy. Like, come on. So I'm like, well, let's put you into a pose where we can actually feature. Nobody out there said that, hopefully, or ever. Don't be creepy. That'd be like a PSA. Rule of thumb. Don't be creepy. Just simple. But I have her in a pose where basically I just brought one side of the dress to one side of the leg, and then I open up the other side so her leg sticks out. And we used the bouquet there to actually make it so it wasn't too revealing. So I had her bring the bouquet down to that side, and she reaches over with that arm. I have her straighten the back, curve to the lumbar, and you can see that in the shot. And that's why we get the curve to the back. The chest kind of comes out. And then I'm just adjusting the neck in the other two shots. The first shot is shot more of a silhouette. Second shot as well. And the third shot is just a little bit brighter since she's looking towards the camera. Okay. In the background image, you can see that as well. Anyway, the next piece, the last piece of posing guidance that I want to give you guys is just that remembering that the hands, the arms, the eyes, the fingers, these are all pointers. They all lead the viewer around an image. So where the eyes are looking is where our viewer's eye is going to follow. And that's why we'll oftentimes crisscross the eyes in a photograph to bring the viewer's eyes across. One eye kind of leads to the other, and it brings you into the center of the photograph. You'll also notice that in this shot, I actually didn't see that she was pointing. The way that her fingers were placed were making a pointer. And when I got into post, I was like, oh man, she's pointing. And it's a very strong visual indicator, especially with the eye looking down towards it. We wonder, what is she pointing at? Same thing with the hands going across the belly. The reason that this is used so often in maternity is because in maternity photographs, you want to accentuate the belly. You want people to look and to say, oh my goodness, they're having a baby. And to do that, we bring all four hands in, and all the leading lines and kind of everything from the hands and the arms go across the belly. And we go, oh, that's beautiful. It's a maternity shot, except for when it's not. When it's not a maternity shot, you end up with the prom photograph, or you end up with a photograph that just looks odd. Like you're wondering, is she pregnant? Are they having a baby, or did they just get... So that can look odd when all the hands go in the stomach and there's no purpose to it. Okay. Posing. Have a whole 8 to 10 hours of just posing guidance on SLR Launch Premium. But that's a little 5-10 minute sneak peek. So in being a director, that's number 4. This is where, look, cameras are getting so incredibly good these days. Your job as a photographer has been taken over, has been outsourced directly to the camera itself. This is just truth, and it's going to get worse as we go forward. If you're relying on like, oh, but the camera, like, now the camera lights, and now the camera does all this stuff, and now the camera creates all its own bokeh, and it does all this, and it took my job away from me. It's because you're a photographer instead of being a director. A director sets up a scene, they set up a pose, they create the emotion, they create the mood and the scene to create those authentic images, they get the clients comfortable, they do all of the stuff in between, and at the end comes the click of the camera. Because that's the smallest piece. It honestly always has been the smallest piece of the process. And you can understand that. You can have proof of that by just looking to Hollywood. It's generally the directors that are getting the most of the credit for the work that comes out, because they're the ones that are envisioning and setting up the process. I mean, the DP did a ton of work. The lead grips, the gaffers, the best boy, all of them did tons of work for the lighting and for everything. But those are the technical pieces that are easy to be learned and easy to hand off, versus the vision and the directing and the posing, the communication, and all those pieces. Those differentiate, and those are difficult to hand off. And that's the piece of the vision that I want you guys to have. You are no longer a photographer capturing images. You direct, you create. That's the focus. Clients, they can't act natural. This always happens. I don't know how to act natural. Everyone says it. Groups, they don't know what to do on their own. Moments don't always happen on their own. Yes, sometimes everything is set up for you and it just works, and you're just shooting, and you have one of those days where it just feels like... The last time I had one of those days was like 6 years ago, where like everything just lined up. And you know what the bride and groom said to me? They're like, we literally just want to have fun, and we just want you to capture us having fun. We don't want any post photographs. We don't want like no family formals, no nothing. And I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Like after everything, they're like, yes, this is exactly what we want, and we just want to have fun. They were the most spontaneous and natural couple I've ever photographed. A long time ago, 7 years ago. I have yet to have a couple like that. Nobody is like that. Very few people are like that. And it felt like everything I shot at, they just looked great. I was like, man, they just are like doing all the work, and this is fantastic. But when it's not, and 99% of the time it's not, being the director really helps out. Location and lighting is often less than ideal. We work in crappy situations, so relying on that is not a good thing. Clients get stressed out. I can't tell you how many times, including this past weekend, where I've had to tell my clients, look, guys, I understand the timeline's not going the way you want it to. Don't worry about that. The images are going to be amazing. I need you guys to focus on what this moment actually is. You're getting married. I know this thing didn't go right with the flowers and the color's a little bit off. I know. Pull yourself back to presence right now. Pull yourself back into this moment and be here, because that's the only thing that will be noticeable in your photographs. That's the only thing you remember when you look back at them. Those are things that a camera can't do. A camera can't light. A camera can't pose. It can't direct. It can't comfort. It can't do any of these things. And if you can set yourself up as that, then you can create really amazing images like this one, where mom and dad say, I really want a picture with my daughter in the morning. Just before anyone else gets to see her, I want to see her first. And I can bring them in, and I can take a photograph, and we're going to pose them for a couple shots looking in the camera, but I'm also going to help them and guide them into shots that look and feel natural if they're not doing it on their own. This is a moment with dad. And it was very simple. I had dad in the room, ready to go. I placed him in the little spot, and I said, Dad, this is where I want you to stand. I said, your daughter's about to walk through that door in just a moment. And this probably is going to be the last time you have a private moment with her before she walks down the aisle. I'm going to be quiet. If there's anything you'd like to say to her before she walks down the aisle, this is a great moment. I did nothing other than set up the lighting in the scene the way I wanted to, and I cued the action by simply reminding them of what this moment actually is to snap them back into presence. Then you just shoot. Everything else will happen for you. Same thing. We showed this image before. Mike and Natalie. The flower toss isn't going to happen on its own. And you know what's funny about this? They actually did the toss once, and the wind blew all the petals in the wrong direction. So rather than stopping and being like, oh, okay, like literally the petals like flew directly behind them, and they're not in the frame really. I stopped. And I said, look, guys, we're going to do that one more time. The wind is blowing this way, so I want you guys to throw all the petals that way. And they all did it again. And you can kind of see like everyone's kind of throwing it in a specific angle for the wind. And we took the shot a second time. And sometimes that happens. And you have to be bold enough to say, I'm not happy with that. We're going to do that one again. No, you don't do this with like the first kiss. Like that'd be weird. The first kiss happens and you're like, hey, hold on. That wasn't good enough. I need to fix that right there. Just, Dad, have a seat for a second. No, but for moments that we can orchestrate, for moments like this, if it doesn't happen right the first time, there are oftentimes opportunities to say, let's do it one more time. Pedal tosses are a good example of that. This is one from a month or so ago where they said, we're going to have surprise fireworks, but none of the family knows. But we'd really love a picture of the entire family watching the fireworks, but none of them know. And you can't tell them. And I was like, okay, let's make this happen. So right before the fireworks, I go rounding up the entire family. 3 people of these 10 knew that there was going to be fireworks. Everybody else, it was a surprise. So I'm like rounding them up. I'm like, hey guys, I want you all to come and stand over here. I don't know why, just there's going to be something special. Something special is going to happen. You don't know what it is, but it's going to happen. I need you to stand right here. Stand right here, stand right here. And I guided them and posed them. I placed the light directly behind them, so I was ready to go. I had my exposure dialed in. The fireworks start popping. We adjust the exposure real quick because once the fireworks go, it brightens up. I adjusted both the flash and the camera ambient exposure, and we get this shot. And the couple is naturally looking at each other because they are. And everybody's watching, and it looks natural because it is, to the extent of it's authentic to what was set up for them prior. We set up the shot, and then we let it happen. And that's what I want you guys to learn in the art of directing. Any cues right now? Good. Cues in the end. So differentiating via lighting. Give a quick demonstration on this because lighting is one of those things where we cover lighting throughout the entire series and throughout all of our education. It's one of those things that you're not going to master overnight, but it's going to slowly be a progress. Everybody, every photographer, no matter how much experience you have, including myself, you are continually learning to light better. But we're going to show you how you can take a simple conference room, nasty, nasty ambient lighting, that tungsten orange look with those bad conference walls and terrible carpet, and just use some basic modifiers. Here we're using a standard flash with a grid, and we're actually using a 5-in-1 scrim. It's the diffuser inside of like a 5-in-1 reflector to bounce the light through to kind of create a makeshift softbox. We just did a thing recently with Magmod. They actually have a new softbox. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have to use our makeshift softbox anymore. There's another light on the other side adding a rim. We darken down the exposure to create kind of a rich wood look in the background and adjust the ambient light white balance in camera. And we get the shot on the right. Here, the actual scene. We place a light behind her. We're going to do a hairspray shot, but rather than shoot the typical shot, the typical hairspray shot where it's just the hairspray's lit up, I fire the image and I see a shadow on the wall. I'm like, you know what would be really cool? There's actually a frame on the other side of that wall. I'm going to shoot in the direction of the light so I get this gigantic shadow, and I'm going to add one more light onto her face. So you can see me in that left side image. I'm actually placing that second light directly so it hits her in the face. You can see the light stand on the left side is right behind her. Then I turn around. So I'm shooting in the direction of the backlight, with the direction of the backlight, to capture this shot where she's lit up, and anything that's bright in the background of a reflection will show through the reflection. Anything that's dark won't. So the light's pinned directly to her. She's the brightest thing. So she shows up in the reflection, and that's the hairspray shot that we went for. Making something as simple and mundane as showering actually look rad. And this is a single shot. It's not composite. It's shot to feature the entire room to show how a darker exposure with a creatively placed light inside of the shower, which, by the way, not all guys want. But for the clients that want something more edgy, it's an easy way for a second shooter to create a really unique image right out of groom prep. How about simulating the sun on the left side? So on the left side, we have a pocket flash at full power. This room is oftentimes lit by the sun. Unfortunately, the sun was past the angle that I wanted it when we got to that room. So I was like, it's okay. We'll just put a flash up inside the room. It's right next to that rail. And I'm going to put a CTO gel on it so it has a little bit of a warmer look to it. And we're going to fire at full power as if that's a flare coming through the window. And it looks just like the sun coming through the window. The one on the right to show you how different this can look. This is slightly later in the day, but this time using the flash to light the wall and to let it bounce around and create a silhouette of the couple. So there's CTO gel on that flash, and it's going straight into the wall, and it's bouncing and wrapping around. And we create this really warm look at 8,000 Kelvin on the right side. The left side one, I think, is like at 5,500 Kelvin. So it's right around daylight balanced. The right side one, very moody. I have a really fun lighting shot for you guys. So if you look at this shot above, you'll see Shiv actually, she's lighting with me. And what you'll see is I have the camera up on a tripod, and I found these 3 cool pieces of art. I'm like, you know what'd be fun is let's make the art part of the photograph, and let's bring the couple into it and kind of create a piece that way. This is a hotel lobby that doesn't look great, by the way. Like, you can see the tungsten lighting in here. It doesn't look like anything special. So what we've done is actually place just a flash right behind her and him on each of these pieces of art. So the flash is actually lighting up the artwork. We're darkening down the exposure in camera to allow them to become silhouettes. So I first placed her, took a shot with the light on the art. Then I placed him, took a shot with the light on the art. Then I brought them to the center and took a shot in the center with the light on the art. And we composited the 3 in Photoshop. Again, the camera's on a tripod. So this composite takes less than a minute to just layer them, paint one side, paint the other side, and you're done. It's very simple. And we actually walk through like all the post-production as well in full tutorials, but we don't have that. Here's the final shot. It's interesting. It's different. And the cool thing is when the hotel sees it, they're like, holy crap, nobody else has ever done anything like that. And the great thing is that there's a million variants. The way that you're going to walk into one of these scenes and light it and shoot it, and someone else and me, it's all unique. And if you can understand that, it becomes a huge skill in your repertoire. You don't always have to use it, but you can use it to wow and impress your clients, your vendors, everybody by creating something when nothing actually exists. So here's the 6-step lighting quick guide. I want you guys to visualize the scene in your mind. You're going to visualize and say, kind of like as you're looking at it, what would this look like if it was a little bit brighter? What would it look like if it was a little bit darker? You'll get better at this as you learn to adjust your camera's exposure and you kind of see it through the eyes of your camera. You'll begin to kind of visualize the same way. For now, pop up your live view. Pop up live view and just look at live view as you adjust the exposure up and down. Adjust the Kelvin up and down. Then you're going to set the ambient exposure based on kind of what you see is what you get. Whatever you like, that's what you're going to go with. I really should have brought some water over here. Then I want you to add your first light. You've set the ambient exposure. You've decided on your intention. You've visualized it. That's dialed into the camera. Now you place your first light. You look and you say, where does that first light need to go? What do I need to do to add light to this scene to make it good? And you're going to choose your modifier to best fit the look you're going for. There's no one modifier that's right or wrong. My favorites are the sphere, the grid. Well, in order, it's the grid, CTO gel, sphere, and then softening stuff like an umbrella or perhaps like a mag box. But I use very simple modifiers, and I use a lot of hard light because I like that look. And I just pose the face to work with it. Then you set your power for that single light. You get everything right, and you look at the frame, and that's when you say, do I need another light? You don't go and set up 2 light stands, 3 light stands, and try to start lighting with 3 lights or 4 lights at a time. It's impossible. It's impossible because you don't know what light is doing what in the frame. So start with 1. And by the way, when you're shooting weddings, more often than not, all you need is 1 single light. Thank you so much. Okay. So I'm going to say those that are going to end up jumping into premium or purchasing, for more lighting information, look at Lighting 101 and 201, because we literally explain the ins and outs, starting with just how powerful your on-camera flash is. And we show you how to manipulate your on-camera flash. Yeah, the one like literally on your hot shoe to create off-camera lighting. Then we show you how powerful an off-camera light can be in Lighting 201. Very simple gear, very powerful effects. I'm going to drink some water. You got some cues? All right, let's keep moving. I'm going to turn this around so we're not advertising for Aquafina. Number 6 is group portraiture done right. And I wanted to have this as a point in here because I mentioned this a little bit earlier. How many of us, how many photographers, especially the old school guys that say, oh, I hate family formals. How many times have I heard someone at a trade show or conference saying, yeah, I actually have my second shooter or my third shooter do all the family formals. Or I have my lead shooter do the family formals and I shoot second. Look, great, fine, dandy. You're missing one of the greatest opportunities of natural marketing there could possibly be. Because this is a 32 or 30 person wedding party on this shot. They're all young. They're all of the age where they're either dating, engaged, just married, which means that they themselves are either getting married, having kids, need a photographer, or they know people that are getting married and that need photographers or that need these services. They are right there. And you've got a chance to actually show them on the wedding day who you are and what you can do in a very short time frame, how you communicate, how you work, and the final product. I show these clients the images from the back of my camera every time, and I walk around, I'm like, you guys got to check that out. You guys want to see it? And they're like, yeah, we want to see it. And I walk around and I show each person. And every person there begins to talk about, oh my gosh, this guy does things that nobody else does. And then you post it online, and all 30 of the people will share it on their Facebook pages. Why? Because they're all featured in the image, and it's a cool image, and nobody else has. You would feature an image like that. Just think of the things that you would do if you were in a wedding party and the photographer was awesome and he did these things, or she did these things, and they posted them. Let's not be sexist. He or she. He or she. It's 2018, guys. 2018. If you do these things and you post them, your clients will share them. You would share them. You would share them if another photographer did the exact same thing because you would be impressed. And it's featuring you. And we all like to post things that are about us. It's the way that we operate. It's human nature. And you're missing it. But then you have opportunities to do things that are more fun too. Once again, when do you have, like going back to this prior image with the 30 people on the steps, these outfits are ridiculous. This is one of the biggest designers in India. Is Sabyasachi, or what is it? Sabyasachi? Sabyasachi? I always feel like I can't say the name correctly. Sabyasachi, okay. These outfits are ridiculous. To put this thing together on your own, to hire the models, to get the outfits, to get the scene, to get the location. I mean, you're talking about spending $20,000 to $25,000 just to take something like this if you wanted to do it on your own. And it's right there for you on the wedding day. And you go, oh, I'm going to let my second shooter do the family photos because they're boring. Another wedding party shot, getting creative with it, using layers, shooting through them, lighting the couple to bring the attention to them. If somebody asks you to do something that you feel like is cliche, don't let the artiste in you, like I always say that, don't let the artiste take over. Look, if you're wanting to do this as a business, as a professional, then treat it like a business person or professional would. Do what your clients want. Create what they want. But here's what I do. If someone asks me to do something that's been done before, I go, okay, I have one rule. We do it bigger and better than anyone else. Shiv, you help me with this shot. How much time do we have for this? This is the bride and groom up on the... This is the bride and groom with the wedding party passed out drunk.
We had 6 minutes.
6 minutes. So did you show the previous shot with the layers, them holding it up? Okay. So I'm on the drunk shot right now. And they're like, oh, by the way, this is on New Year's Eve. So that's the whole concept behind this, is they got married on New Year's Eve. So like, we want to have like a drunk celebration shot where like I'm the only one that's like the last one standing for New Year's in the shot. And the manager originally gave us permission to do it in the bar and then said, nope, can't have it, can't do it. And I was like, look, can you just give us like 5 minutes? I was like, all right, 5 minutes. And he like sat there with a timer. You guys got to go, got to go. So me and Shiv ran around getting everybody in these different poses. All right, you guys do this, you do this, you do this. We grabbed a flash, fired it, got the shot. All right, let's clean up, let's go. In and out in 5 minutes. Like, it can be done. And I think it's cool when we take something that's been done before, but we make it that much better. And yes, they all shared it. Another amazing wedding, incredible wedding party. This is Sunita. So you can pull it up. Namin. Let's go to the next one, Earl and John. This is their wedding party. We did the same shot with their family. These are the images that they frame. These are the ones that mean a lot to them. It features everybody that they love. And yes, you do the smiling shots too. You do the, I do a smiling with the lip shot, which is the kind of editorial formal. And then I do the full smiles, and I do like different ones where they interact with each other. They cheer, they do all these different things. You do all those, but you set it up and get those shots. Here's a nice natural light image. This is actually off to the side of the staircase that you saw for that prior Indian wedding. Now we see their full family, like just on this little, it's a very simple spot, very beautiful family photograph where we have the wives and the kids kind of sitting and staggered. So you create an interesting image. And this is both sides of their family. They're going to want these images, and it's an opportunity to create something that's amazing. Now, how about another cliche kind of image? The bride and groom, bridezilla, groomzilla, the stomping shot. I was like, I've always seen that shot, like kind of done one or the other. What if we did the whole wedding party? What if both feet kind of came in from each side? What if we did this? So these are ways that I use to, if somebody asks me to do something that's a little bit cliche, I don't look down on it. I don't get all snooty. I don't get all artiste on them. I say, let's do it bigger and let's do it better. That's how I kind of satisfy my own creativity in the process. This one got shared like crazy too. All of these are examples of images that are so simple to do and create that will create natural and organic marketing for your business. So here's the steps, the takeaways for editorial group portraits. I want you guys to start with the bride and groom, place them where you'd like, pose them how you'd like. Then you're going to build around them with additional pairs and couples. I like to put the groupings like together. So like if the bridesmaids and the groomsmen have pairings, I like to put them into the pairings versus just having the boys and the girls on each side. I think that's a different photograph altogether, but I like that shot too. But usually I'll do this with the pairings, kind of place them all around the scene. And then you're going to use balance, not symmetry. And what I want you to think of is you don't want people to doing identical things on each side. When everyone's doing the same thing on each side, it looks symmetrical and posed. What you want is balance. So maybe 3 people are sitting over here and 2 are sitting over here, but 4 people are standing over here. Only 3 people are standing on this side. So you're going to use balance to kind of give it even weighting, although the exact poses and positions are different on each side. Every pose should also vary. You don't want everybody holding hands, everybody looping through the arms. You want to vary it up. Then we're going to do spacing versus connection. If we want to create intimacy, we bring everyone closer. If we want to create more of it's kind of a sense of standalone featuring of each person, we space them out. What I like to do though in either case is have a slight bit of overlap to guide the eye through the frame. So the slight bit of overlap is like a foot that kind of comes close to a leg and then kind of leads up to a shoulder that's close to someone behind it. Everything overlaps slightly, so it kind of leads you through an image. That's the groups. Let's talk about Pinterest made simple. Now, if you stuck it out this far, this one tip should be one that's worth the price of admission just on its own. Again, it's free, but your time costs money. So Pinterest made simple. Now, we have 259 Pinterest boards. We get 149,000 monthly viewers on those boards. Let me show you something. How many of you, and I want you guys to raise your hands in the virtual audience that we have here. Raise your hands if 70, 80, 90, or the majority % of your marketing effort is going to Facebook currently? Raise your hands. Raise your hands if Facebook is usually the place that you post images and you try and show your work and all those kind of things. I want to see. How many of you are focused primarily on Instagram to find clients, to post, to get out there? Raise your hands. Now, what if I told you that Pinterest is actually the most popular platform for brides and that 72% of your brides are on Pinterest? And and you guys probably already see the slide, but if you see this, how many of you are actually spending 70% of your effort where your decision makers are spending their time? Because Facebook is not a source for client acquisition anymore. You can do it, it's still possible, but it's not the ideal place anymore. There's plenty of studies that show this. Instagram is still wonderful. It's a great place, but we all know how we use Instagram. We simply scroll, we simply follow the people that we already know, and it's unlikely that brides are going to necessarily just stumble across you without any former kind of interaction or engagement. There might be a possibility they find you through a hashtag. But again, I'm not saying to drop these, I'm saying to do them, but to spend your time wisely. And if 72% are looking for inspiration on Pinterest, oh my goodness, why aren't you spending the majority of your time there setting up inspirational boards and getting everything ready to be found on Pinterest where the decision makers are making their decisions? Here's the simplest way to do that. Excuse me while I cough and grab a drink. Any cues from that section so far? How many hands, virtual hands, did they raise virtual hands?
We have a lot of like 50% for both, like 50 Instagram, Facebook. We have some 90%.
So there's 50-50 Facebook, Instagram. There's some 90% on Facebook.
90% on Instagram. We have
Instagram.
10% on Facebook. A lot of people say they're focused on Facebook.
So every time I ask this question, the funny thing is in like when we did our business class, which is coming soon to premium. Oh, it's already coming out on premium. Chapter one's on premium. So when we did that and we asked everybody, like, it's the same thing. Oh, I split it between Facebook and Instagram. Oh, I'm mostly Instagram, which is great because Instagram is far better than Facebook. Oh, I'm mostly Facebook. But nobody said that they spend the majority of their time on Pinterest. So here we go. Simple Pinterest plan made easy. When your clients come to you and you're sitting down with them and you're meeting with them and you're about to do a shoot, any shoot, I don't care if it's an engagement, a family session, a styled shoot, a newborn shoot. I don't care if it's a giveaway winner, whatever it is. You say, look, I like to create mood boards. We still create mood boards. We do the wave, but we still create mood boards because mood boards are a great way to understand visually the visual style that ties into what they like, what resonates with them. It's not very great in like helping us know what the subject matter is that they like the most, but it's great in understanding visual style. And for that, we use it. So we tell them, pin 10 to 20 images off our own blog. If you'd like to include another 5, 10 images from other inspirational sources, by all means, add those. But 10 to 20 images from our own blog. And if you go to the Linear Joseph blog, you'll notice that in the corner of an image, if you mouse over it, you'll see the little Pinterest icon. So we make it very simple for them. All you need to do is have a Pinterest account, go peruse the blog, and pin images that you like. Write one sentence about why you like them, or even one word if you'd like. The colors, the background, the scene, the emotion, whatever it is, write something. This does two things. It creates our mood board we're going to use to be able to better understand our client's visual identity. And number two, we have just had our clients become kind of marketers for us as they have pinned or repinned 10 to 20 images on their own. And every client that comes to the doors does this. Everyone. Now, if we're doing over 1,000 client commissions each year, without us creating anything, we have 20, 30, 40, 50,000 images just being cycled online over and over and over by own clients that are setting up their own mood boards throughout the process of being engaged, getting married, taking newborn photos, family photos, etc. So that is the mood board that you see here. Those things are pieced together. You're going to review those with the client in the talk through. we go through all that in more detail later on. But that is the simplest way that you can create a Pinterest game plan. Incorporate that, create your inspirational boards on top of that, like we have, and just tag properly and watch the views come in. Next piece, viral vendor marketing. I want to show you guys something. The details, photographing the details. This entire workshop is all about lighting, shooting, composition, everything that you need to take detail photos that get shared. Because here's what a lot of people don't understand. We go, oh, I don't want to take like, man, the wedding coordinator is like so needy. Like they just want their pictures, or the florist asked me for pictures. And you know what? I'm just going to charge them. I'm going to charge them for the pictures because I'm a photographer and I'm an artiste. No, again, let it go. Nobody's going to pay you for those images anyway. Plus, it's their hard work that has given you something to photograph. So you better damn well give them credit for it and help them out just like they're helping you out on the day of. But if you don't, that's fine, because other photographers, like those out there that are going to be smart with their business, like us, we're going to give it to them because they should have it. It's their work. But I'm going to show you in photographing the details how to capture these images in a way where you're creating very simple images that get shared organically. This image here of an altar and the backs of the chairs with a little bit of the ocean background was seen by over 900,000 people worldwide. All we did was post it and tag the vendors, and all they did was repost it and tag outlets, and everybody else tagged outlets, and all these outlets shared it over and over and over and over. And yes, we generally leave our watermark off these images because the credit is right there. They're going to credit us just like we credited them. Let's look at another one. So simple shots, and we have kind of rules on this. The entire course goes over every single bit of details or photographing the details. But you'll see on each of these, you can see how many thousands of likes these different images have and where they're being shared from. So mine's really tiny. Loving Hot Couture, I think, has 33,000. These are all posts of our images on other sources. Look at this one. Really simple shot. By all means, like this was shot from a 5D4, but it could have been an iPhone for anybody knows. Like nobody would know the difference between that. It was seen by 6.8 million people worldwide. It had over 170,000 likes on it. This is the effect and what you can be doing with Instagram with such simple imagery and just good ways of shooting it, displaying it, and tagging. And here's the recipe for viral detail images. So obviously we need to know how to lighten composition. That's beyond the scope of this. What you want to realize is that majority of the time, most bridal publications are not into overly dramatic images. You're not going to be popping flashes and creating dramatic detail shots and having them published. Most publishers don't do that. There's very few magazines that do darker and more like kind of luxurious setups. And even they don't want you necessarily to pump flash in. They just want it to look, if I go back 2 slides to slide 87, they want it to look like the bottom right image where you have like, you know, the natural pin lighting and all that kind of stuff from those setups. And that's like Grace Ormond. They publish a lot of the more avant-garde and darker images and the bigger and grand, you know, type things. But most of our magazines here in SoCal, it's all bright and airy. So step 1 is to light and to shoot it in a way that fits the magazine itself. Step 2 is to have square croppability. I know on Instagram you can have different kind of shapes and everything, but most of our coordinators, most publications, they want to be able to shape and design these images to fit other things. Like a publication wants to place them against other things in a print. Instagram wants to be able to use them for, I still like keeping my images square on Instagram wherever possible because that's just what we're used to. So we want to make sure that we're not filling things edge to edge and that we leave room in the frame to actually make it square croppable. So you have room for print mediums and all these other things to create layouts from. Feature the couple with the decor. That's a big deal. And try and get as many vendors' hands into each image. Now, I don't mean like literally like bring their hands in. What I mean is, if you can, angle your image and shoot your image in a way that you've got the florist incorporated, you've got the coordinator automatically incorporated, you've got the lighting and the DJ, you've got the cake, you've got all the vendors in one shot. and you're going to tag every single one of these vendors. So when it goes up, we're going to tag each one of them. And by the way, don't forget the dress designers, the clothing, the wardrobe, outfits, shoes, all of it are opportunities. We've been published by dress designers who have millions of followers constantly, and all it takes is a good photograph of the bride in their dress. Literally, that's it. Tag inspirational accounts, use relevant hashtags, and timing, of course, is important. And what I want to mention on timing is that obviously Instagram algorithms, they have like all the different like, oh, you got to post at this time of the day and this thing, and this is the best time for this. Look, I want to make Instagram simple. Most of us aren't even using it correctly as a visual medium for what it is. Yes, optimization and posting at certain times a day, that stuff is great. But you want to know what is even better than that? Being smart. Posting immediately after the wedding, the day after, or at least within a couple days to Instagram. That's the timing that I'm talking about. Because if you post it just after the wedding, everybody is still excited about it. By the next week, the vendors and everyone else, well, the couple's on their honeymoon, the vendors are off to their next wedding, it loses steam. By a month out, it's lost all of its steam and its viral capabilities gets dropped. You know, if you post it the day after, everyone's at home, resting, they're going to see it, they're going to republish constantly. And then, regardless of whether you post it in the morning or in the afternoon or whatever optimal time, the engagement will be high on the photograph and Instagram will feature it. Be smart and understand the medium and understand the emotional kind of state that these clients and vendors are in just after the wedding. Don't hold on to them for weeks or months before you start posting them. It's not going to have nearly the impact it would if you can get some teasers out the next day. Okay, number 9, the power of styled shoots. I love styled shoots. Styled shoots, well, test shoots are like a playground. I want you to think of styled shoots and test shoots as two different things. Test shoots are the playground. We get to try new techniques. We get to hone our skills, and we kind of hope something turns out. This is usually earlier in our career when we're not quite as sure of ourselves and our capabilities. Later on, I want you to drop test shoots and just create styled shoots, but understand that styled shoots, which is this slide now, comes with expectations. You have expectations for vendors, for venues, and for models. They all want something out of it. That means that you need to deliver. And if you don't deliver, you can actually be damaging your business. But once you have gotten to that place in your career where you're confident and you can deliver and you know exactly what you want to create and you can plan out, and yes, some things might not go as planned, but in the end, you create a wonderful product, just do styled shoots. Now, from those, what we end up creating is gorgeous images like what you can see here. But this is a full placement out in Hollywood, actually, where we not only work with the vendor, we worked with, the coordinator, florist, cake and dessert, the hotel itself, the couples, dress designer, suits. I mean, we had 8 or 9 vendors involved in this production. And again, we're creating beautiful images. We get to hone techniques, try out new things, create incredible works of art, and have all these relationships created from it. This was a paid styled shoot for the Langham Huntington Hotel, where we went in and we created a whole series of images featuring 3 different models. And again, we kind of made it work for us, where we're like, well, we'd like to use the images for our own portfolio. We'd like to bring in behind the scenes so we can film for education. We like to do all this. And on top of that, you know, this is the price for this style shoot and for the use of these images after. There's such a wonderful opportunity. And right afterwards, it's so easy to show them an incredible set of images, get on the preferred vendor list, and then go do the same thing with the next with the next venue, with additional vendors, and build your relationships by creating works of art, by doing what you naturally should be doing. Okay, so the power of a styled shoot. From each one of these, we can expect to get 25 plus portfolio images, hundreds of images for social media that we're going to use over time. We get behind the scenes images that we can use. We can use video for the blog. We can talk about what we do. We can show off these images so our clients know how we work. We get our educational content. We get solidified vendor relationships. We can create new types of work that we can show off so that clients will want those images and they will hire us for those images. And of course, we get to practice and hone new techniques. This is one of the most effective uses of your time. So don't leave it out. Finally, I have storytelling as a team. It's my last and final piece to how to 10x your wedding skill set, just walking away from this. And I want you to understand that In photographing the ceremony, we basically talk about how the lead shooter, second, and third shooter operate in tandem. The second shoots off the lead, the third shoots off the second, and any movement that the lead makes causes kind of that movement to happen with the second and the third as well. We give you the 3 primary angles. So you see right now that the lead is shooting 2470 or 7200 down the aisle, just depending on the type of setup. With an Indian wedding, we're often very close, 2470, because you have to be to capture the details, because there's a lot of stuff going on around you, and they expect that. With most of our other weddings that are more traditional, not in the sense of like traditional ceremonies, but in the sense of like traditional cathedral type settings where like they don't want you to be in the front aisle, then we're standing back with like 2470 and 7200 and shooting from the back of the aisle. Seconds and thirds are shooting from the outsides, generally with a 7200. And these are the angles. So all the lines that you see in this image, the lines are showing where the second shooter and third shooter are basically looking for VIPs. They're shooting into the crowd to get VIP reactions. They're shooting towards the bride and groom, and they're also shooting the bridal party that might be standing up there as well. And the angles that we're looking for is here, straight down the aisle. You see shots of him. You see shots of her for each of these moments. Then you see like we'll set up each scene with a wide and a medium, and we keep going tighter. So we go wide to set it up, we go medium, and we keep stepping in as we go. And remembering that we need to shoot back on the audience, and what we're looking for are those reaction shots. So in any of these sweet moments, we would turn around and shoot mom and dad. We'd turn around and we would shoot guests. And the people that are generally in the front, they're going to be the VIPs. So you're focusing in on just those front row or two. And we're focusing in on the bridal party. Make sure that we got good expressions of each one of them as they watch and they enjoy the ceremony. Okay. In summary, our 10 points. 1, the wall art vision exercise. 2, composition and emotion is greater than your gear. 3, the art of posing. 4, being a director. 5, differentiate via lighting. 6, group portraiture can be an amazing marketing opportunity when done right, and portfolio experience. 7, Pinterest. We've made it a little more simple and shown you the power and why your attention needs to be on it. 7, we've given you a viral vendor marketing idea of how to create better details and why it's so important to do so. 9, the power of styled shoots, and 10, storytelling as an entire team. And now, do you have any questions? No?
I've been answering them.
Oh, Shiv's been answering all the questions as they go. So is there anything you feel like, Shiv, that we should talk out loud in the video for? All right. So the free gift for all webinar attendees. And Shiv, you have a giveaway at the very end, right, that we're going to do too. So right now, everybody that watched this, you guys can get $30 gift credit towards any product that you would like in the SLR Lounge store by using 10x webinar. My promise to you guys was to walk away a better photographer, delivering a better client experience. And I hope you guys all feel like we've delivered on that promise. Maybe you guys can chime in. Let us know. Say it in the comments. If you feel like we totally missed the boat, just be like, don't say anything, actually. Don't say anything. Just spare my feelings, okay? No, I think we came away from this, and I'm hoping that you guys have a lot of new tools, new techniques that you guys can take and incorporate directly into your work right now. And with your permission, I would now like to tell you just a little bit more about SLRlounge.com before we get into announcing our actual winner. Do I have their permission? Do I have it? Do I have it? Do they like it? Do they like everything we talked about so far? They're having a good time. Okay. So what we've been about at SLRlounge.com is when we created the studio, when we created Lineage's Photography, we discovered that it took years to train someone coming in the door as a lighting assistant. It took years to train them up until they were a lead photographer. Well, first a second photographer, then a lead photographer, and then a master photographer. And in that process, we realized we need a system. But in looking out in all the education that we found education available to be very theoretical. Theoretical. And here's what I mean is like, you'll see videos on YouTube, you'll see videos in different places, you know, and a lot of it is really great information. You'll find really good, realistic information in a lot of those places. You'll also find some information that's kind of like, hey, here's how to shoot a group portrait. And you see them using $8,000 of Photo B1s and it's in a studio setup. And you're like, that's just not realistic. I don't have clients that do that, let alone do I have 10 grand to go drop on that gear. And then you see another one, here's how we do this. And you're like, oh man, like I don't ever have that. And what we realize is that a lot of wedding education was based on a lot of theory and things that work in certain scenes and not in others. And then a lot of education is great, but it's all in piecemeal. It's putting together tips and tricks and wasting time just browsing and trying to search. And when you don't even know what to look for, how do you even find something for free on YouTube? You spend gobs and gobs of time. So we told ourselves as we were building the studio, we need to create our own training platform and create our own training system for our internal shooters. And what you see on SLR Lounge is our own internal training, and what it's based upon are real weddings. So yes, in our teaching moments, we use models. We shoot mock ceremonies, we shoot, in studio, we set up these different moments so that we can talk to the camera like right now. But then we actually filmed over 40-something actual client weddings who gave us permission to bring in a behind-the-scenes crew to film. And then after we teach those techniques in the studio or in the setup piece of the shoot, we show you those techniques in practice. We use real-world gear. We use the gear that you already have, gear that you can afford, $100 flashes, simple modifiers. We teach you how to light on the move and how to work in any type of scene regardless of the lighting setup. How to direct and communicate and give clients a wonderful experience. This is our certification and training system for our employees, for the 60+ creatives that work here, including Shiv herself, who certified and became a lead shooter in the process of actually filming this series. So what we have is real world, real education, and it's designed to get you to the place where you feel confident to create perfect lighting on the go in any situation. You feel like you've mastered your posing and directing. You can do anything in any situation that you want, because I want you guys to drop the stress that you carry into each wedding. And I know that stress very well. That stress is a very real thing, especially when you're starting out, that what if I can't do what they hired me to do? What if I mess up this one scene? What if I can't get this? It'll all fall away if I can get you guys to understand that a training system is necessary to create consistently amazing artwork. I don't need you to do the same thing every time. I need you guys to have a similar approach to the way that you do things each time. There's a big difference between those two things. So this series, the Wedding Workshop series, is 8 complete workshops. It's a total of 475 videos. It's 70 hours of highly edited content. This isn't just live education where we just talk and ramble and you watch 20 hours and there was 1 hour of good stuff in there. This is 70 hours of scripted education from A to Z through the entire process. It is the best wedding photography education available, the most comprehensive A to Z system in the world. And that's not being biased. That is what it is. So I think the webinar attendee price is $469. There's $130 off with the discount code. I want you guys to feel comfortable, confident. There's thousands of photographers that are already a part of Premium, that are learning, that are growing at a rate that frankly I wish we were able to do when we first started. We have plenty of testimonials. If you guys have any questions, pop onto the SLR Lounge Photography community group or go online and just simply ask other people their thoughts. We have no fear or qualm in you guys doing that because we know what the responses will be. F-Stopper has said, this is the most comprehensive real-world training system for wedding photographers today. Our good friend Trevor Daly, one of the best wedding photographers in the world, has also said that less than the cost of most workshops, yet more valuable than all of them combined. There's nothing out there like this in the free and paid educational world. So guys and gals, please go and check it out. You're going to learn a ton. We have the business series coming soon. All of it is going to be wonderful. And the winner of the entire giveaway is, please hold, I'm just kidding. No, there's no technical difficulties. No, just waiting for Shivy. So this is a $500 giveaway, $600 giveaway, $500 sale price giveaway. You got it? You're gonna slide it to me. This is a secret. It's like a secret ballot. Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see it. We have Kwan Een Chan from Murrumbidgee, Australia. Congratulations, Quan. You have won the entire wedding workshop series, which you can download and enjoy all 70 hours of content at your leisure. All right, guys, I want to thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for sticking around, for tuning in, for giving us your time. I hope it was as worthwhile to you all as it was fun for us to create. And for those that stuck through those few technical difficulties that we had earlier on, I want to thank you guys as well. My name is Pi. I'll see you guys in the next video that hopefully won't be 2 hours long.